Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here for Never Ever Mets on Own TV, season 2, episode 10. I think we got one more episode after this, the reunion, because Decision Day was here, y'all. Decision Day was here. They called this episode so many different plot twists. What you think the plot twist was? In the end, the plot twist was, I guess they want us to believe that Chris is really choosing Alexis. No, he ain't. No, he ain't. I listen, like I said, I'm no psychic. I'm not God. I don't know what's gonna happen in the end. But I will be very surprised if when we get to this reunion, Chris and Alexis are still together. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I just think the scenario we have here is Chris just ran his play to the very end. You see, everybody else cut off all the trickery and foolery and everything. They cut it off at the last minute. Brandon finally spoke his truth. Jared played his cards exactly as we knew he would. But Chris, he went home making Alexis think he was interested in her. And then Alexis was talking about how she's going to relocate to Dallas. Girl, don't do that. Don't do that. Listen, ladies. Listen, ladies. Men might can convince you to be in a relationship with them. You might find a guy, you don't really like him at first. And then what he does is he does a lot of things for you, shows up in the kind of way you want him to. And then you're like, you know what? I really like James. At first, I was overlooking James because of this, and this superficial stuff. But as I get to know the real James, you know what? I really like him. And then all of a sudden, you grow into love and fall in love with James. And, you know, that is a love story a lot of times with women. But with men, ladies, doesn't happen. When men do not want you in the beginning, they're not going to grow in love with you. So all of this foolishness that Chris is saying is foolishness. He just didn't want to do what everyone else did. He didn't want to cut you off on national TV in this process. He didn't want to do that. Don't move to Dallas. There ain't no way that Chris wants you to move to Dallas, and Chris barely even kissed you. Have you gotten any tongue, Alexis? A tongue kiss, a French kiss. Has he grabbed your booty? Um, Nothing. Ain't no man moving you to where he's living, and he hasn't even tongue kissed you. It's not gonna happen, Alexis. Alexis, you need to stop dating young men because you have actually forgotten what dating a grown man actually feels and looks like. You need to go back to dating grown people. See, I've actually grown to like Alexis. But what Alexis is doing wrong is she's trying to date people who match her mentality. You see what I'm saying? She's like, I got this mentality that I can control people or kind of be a little bit bossy or, the way she goes. And I don't want to say she's controlling. I actually like Alexis. And I think what I liked about her going forward through this series is she started to become a bit more aware. I think when she got here, she was really not self-aware, really. But I think this experiment has helped Alexis. And of all the people on the show, I feel like Alexis has grown the most. Now, has she grown enough? No. She's delayed. Alexis has delayed her own growing. It's almost like being in 12th grade, but you still hanging out with the ninth graders. You feel smart when you're around the ninth graders because you're in 12th grade. That's Alexis. Alexis feels smart when she's dating younger men, but she's delayed. Alexis is delayed for her age. And what she's doing is it's her comfort zone. She wants to hang around the ninth graders because with the ninth graders, she feels like big woman on campus. That's what she feels like. But she really needs to learn how to get along with 12th graders because that's her real grade. And she can't just keep, you know, staying stuck in the ninth grade and being in special ed. She need to grow up. And when I mean grow up, she needs to recognize, accept that dating techniques that she might have had when she was in the ninth grade, they're not appropriate dating techniques in the 12th grade. And as a result, she's got to change the way she dates and interacts with men. Alexis came on this show wanting to be the same person, ninth grader. That's what she came on the show. And she kept looking for a man who would accept her as a ninth grader. But really, the solution to Alexis's problem is she needs to date like a 12th grader. She can't keep dating ninth graders because really the problem with Alexis is some of her behavior is inappropriate for a 12th grader, right? It's almost like you're a parent and you got a ninth grader in your house and you got a senior in your house. You can't really parent the ninth grader and the senior the same way. It just can't be one size fits all. So because you don't want to parent the senior in your house differently, you make the seniors live under the rules of the ninth grader because actually you're the one that doesn't want to do the work. You want a one size fits all. You want a game plan for everybody, but no, you got different personalities in your house. You can't parent your children the same. And that's what Alexis want to do. Alexis doesn't want to do the work herself. Or let me say she didn't want to do the work herself. So what she wanted to do was find the person to fit in her life that could just go along with her status quo. But I think where Alexis has grown this season is I think she started to realize that even some of her style wasn't even working with Chris. Now we know Chris got his own problems. He got his own problems. And that's what I mean by her dating ninth graders because she's got to grow up in a lot of her thinking, a lot of her thinking. So I know they call this plot twist in the end. I know Chris said we're going home together. I know Alexa says she about to move to Dallas. Don't do it, girl. Don't do it. Don't do it at all. Um, yeah, I don't think they're going to be together. I don't think they're going to be together. But we got a lot to talk about the other people. That was just a little sidebar conversation about Alexis and Chris. And then we're going to come back and talk about all the other couples. But in the meantime, I'm playing my introduction video. Please don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And then don't forget to leave comments down below. And we're going to come talk about all these endings, all of them. Okay, see you in a minute. Welcome back. Welcome back. We have the open up. We see Jay in the kitchen cooking again. Everybody's so like, that's one thing everybody said they're going to miss. They're going to miss Jay's cooking. Jay's cooking. You know what I was thinking about when I saw Jay cooking once again in the kitchen? Once again, Jay was cooking in the kitchen for everyone, and everyone was enjoying her food. One thing, another reason why when Jay and Cinco were having that conversation last week about um, should Jay move to Atlanta or Cinco move to Chicago? Cinco is going to need to move to Chicago because he's going to have to actually see how Jay operates with a child. Last week we were talking about Jay was talking about her village, her army. She needs to raise her child as a single parent, and moving away from that would be, it could be not dangerous in terms of whatever, but it may not be the wise decision. I agree with her. I agree that. But let me tell you, Cinco, another reason why you need to move to Chicago. Because one thing about in this house, Cinco has had the benefit of all of Jay's attention. All of Jay's attention. Jay is able to cook not only for Cinco, she's also able to cook for everyone, right? She is able to cater to Cinco. She braiding his hair. She give him massages. She's doing all these great and wonderful things, and Cinco is sucking it up. He's loving every bit of it. He's loving all the attention, the care, whatever. But here's the thing, Cinco. Back home, Jay has a little one. And that little one takes up a lot of time from Jay. I guarantee you. How are you going to feel when you get back in Jay's element and now all that time and attention you had focused on you, you don't get all that attention anymore because Jay only got 24 hours in the day. She is gonna have to give a lot of that time that she was giving you here on vacation to her son. Are you able? Are you able to split your time with that son? See, that's what Cinco's got to see. Cinco's got to be at home with Jay, see her daily life, see how much time is he really gonna get from Jay, and can he live with that? That's the thing about children and men with women with children, even in marriages, even when the child is his own child. Seeing a mother dedicate so much time, energy to the child and not him, he can sometimes feel a certain kind of way, a certain kind of way. And it's his own child. How is Cinco gonna feel when all that time and attention he's had here in the house, cooking for him, cleaning for him, doing all this stuff with him, sex every day, sex whenever he wanted? How is he gonna feel when Jay gets back home and now that child wants all that attention and needs all that attention? Can Cinco live off of what Jay is gonna have left? See, that's why Jay don't need to move, because Cinco needs to come into her world and get a more realistic view of what life will be with Jay. I hope they can balance it. I hope it's not too big of a shock for Jay. For Cinco. I really hope it's not too big of a shock. But everybody already is talking about how they're going to miss Jay's cooking, breakfast every morning, dinner every night. You see, how's Cinco going to feel? I know Cinco's helped out. I saw him washing dishes and doing these other kind of things. That's great, Cinco. That's wonderful. So I'm not saying he's not going to be able to adjust. What I'm saying is he hasn't seen it yet. He hasn't experienced it yet. And before you pack your bags, Jay, and you move to Atlanta, he needs to see it, touch it, feel it, and be okay with it. And if he's not okay with it, y'all going to have to figure out how to work it out. So I was happy that in the end, these two said they're going to continue with each other. They gave each other a high five, said good job. Like they was out on, what's that show where the couples used to compete against each other? It's called The Race or The Last Race or something. That's what Jay and Cinco act like they was doing. They act like they was doing that TV show about Amazing Race. I think that's what it's called, The Amazing Race. They high-fiving each other. That's fine. Just like Amazing Race, you weren't in the real world. Y'all weren't in the real world either. This little rendezvous in a mansion in California by the beach in the mountains in, a $20 million house, that ain't the real world. It is not the real world. We'll see what it looks like when you guys get back together. But I'm hoping they're still together. We saw Charlie at the beginning of the episode still holding out hope. Charlie's delusional. Now I know why Charlie got 4 children. If you guys had to bet, we didn't hear anything about Charlie's 4 children, if they have the same father or not. If you guys had to put some money on whether or not Charlie's 4 kids are by the same father, where would you put your money? Yes or no? My money's going on no. We know for sure the last one is not by the same person, so let's forget them. The other 3, where would you put your money? I would put my money on no. And the reason why I would put my money on no is because from what I know about Charlie now. You see, I always have a question about a woman who's gotten pregnant 4 times by 4 different men, but yet the relationship wasn't solid enough to even get to marriage. I'm okay if you got married and they're divorced, but you have 4 children and the relationship didn't even match the level of engagement or marriage. that tells me that you prematurely have children with men. And I don't want to hear about no mistakes, no accidents. It's too many forms of birth control in this world. Once again, young people, you have too many forms of birth control. So when you get pregnant, you got pregnant because you didn't take no birth control or you didn't take no action for birth control. You nor your partner, whether it's the man or the woman, you both didn't take any action. See, back in the day, when women were having a lot of kids, like Evelyn Braxton, she got all them Braxton, Tamar, Tony, Tawanda, Trina, Tracy. You see, um, the only way a lot of women could not get pregnant by their husbands was they would stop having sex with their husbands. That's what used to happen back in the day because there was really no ready available birth control for women. And what women said was, I'm tired of having children. And the only way they could sometimes stop having children was they would start cutting off sex from their husband. Let's be real about it. That was their birth control. Okay. And then a lot of the men would go off and have sex with other women who maybe when birth control was even available, maybe those women took it. But go back and ask your grandmamas. Talk about it if you don't believe me. This is the truth. This is the truth. But now a lot of women have access to birth control. So when I started looking at a woman like Charlie, and I see the way that she held on to Jared, that she calls it love and holding on tight. Charlie is striking me as the type of woman that wouldn't mind getting pregnant to try to hold on to a man, believing that the pregnancy would keep the man. Because I'm telling you, if Charlie could have come up with anything, any idea to hang on to Jared and keep Jared in her life, she would have. She just didn't have no card to play. Charlie would have played whatever card she could have had to keep Jared in her life a little bit longer. Charlie would have played that card. And I believe she would have played it even if it was getting pregnant. I do. I think that's who Charlie is. And I think that's how Charlie got to where she is, of having 4 kids by 4 different men, but yet talking to Jared for 4.5 years and not telling her. Because all these children Charlie has had, I think all these children were made out of a desperation for Charlie to keep these men in her life. Because I think Charlie has a problem with who she is and loving herself. I do. And one of the things I think about what Alexis told her in the very end, after she got dumped by Jared, just as we knew she would, was she told Charlie, you need to stop dating and you need to learn how to love yourself. You need to learn how to love yourself. And I think Charlie uses birthing children as a way of, one, birthing someone that she can feel will always love her, right? In a lot of ways, what's empty inside of Charlie, she uses other people to fill that gap in her. Every time Charlie has a child, I think she probably feels an immense amount of love for her child, just like, most women do. But with Charlie, I think it also serves as another type of medication to her. And that now I have this person who will love me, who will want to be with me, and who will never leave me. That's how a lot of women who are vacant on the inside look at children. They become a substitute to love for what they're missing on the inside. And then they also want men to be substitutes. So I agree with Alexis. Charlie needs to learn how to love herself, and she's got to stop doing 2 things to fill that gap. She got to stop having babies to make her feel loved, and she got to stop trying to get men to fill that gap. She got to fill it herself. The minute Charlie learns how to love herself, right? She won't need babies to fill that emotional void in her of feeling loved, and she won't need men to do it either. And in the end, it will make her better as a mother, and it will also make her better as a partner with another man. Alexis told her right. I can't believe that Charlie sat here this whole season, even after Jared told her to her face who she was or who he was, that she still held out hope. We often call women ice princesses. Let me tell you, Jared, he is an ice prince. That man got some uh, ice running through his veins. Jared basically told us and everyone else that I just did to Charlie what I do to all women. I leave him. I leave him. He says, I don't believe in monogamy. I believe that all things come to an end. Everything ends in heartbreak. Did you hear him when he said that? He said everything ends in heartbreak. So basically he's saying is, I don't have no problem leaving people. I don't have no problem severing ties. Um, I expect, even when I go into a situation, I expect it to end horribly and badly and heartbreak. So I prepare for it. I get ready for it. And what he says is, because I know it's already coming, I can pick and choose when I interrupt it. See, that's what Jared did this whole season. He knew the minute he knew that Charlie had 4 children, he decided in that moment he wasn't going to be with Charlie. But what he said was, I already know I'm leaving. I already know I'm leaving. I just got to pick my timing on when I want to leave. And that's how it's going to be with anybody in a relationship with Jared. If you are with Jared, Jared has just told us all, it's not a matter of if I'm going to leave you. The only question we got right now is when I'm going to leave you. He has said it on national TV. It is not a matter of if I'm going to leave you. The only question we got to figure out while we're getting to know each other is when I'm going to leave you. And what he said was, I already knew I was going to leave Charlie from the minute she told me she had 4 children. And the only reason I stayed was I decided that the when I was going to leave her was going to be at the end of this show to get this money, this free vacation, this all-inclusive resort, and this free sex. That became his win. Just like he said with other ladies. Listen, if I'm with you, I don't know if I'm, it's not that I don't know if I'm gonna leave you, it's a matter of when. And what he said was, when I decide I see another woman that I want to sleep with, I won't cheat on you. But that is when I'll leave. You see, that's the when. It's not the if, it's the when. And he said, I'm not a cheater. That's not what I do. I don't cheat. Even though he had a whole baby on Charlie. He had a whole baby on Charlie. Didn't tell Charlie about nothing. Were they together? I guess, I don't know. Maybe they were in the open relationship because they both had babies. So I'm not going to call him a cheater having the baby because maybe they weren't in a monogamous relationship because 1, he said he don't believe in it. And 2, they obviously weren't because they both had babies on each other. So Jared has told every woman, it's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. So that's all we should care about. Jared needs to go to therapy too, and he's got to figure out where he came up with this equation. And what I'm going to say to Jared is, Jared, I'm not going to even try to talk you off your equation of it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, or your equation that all things end bad, all things end in breakup. I'm not even going to try to talk you off of your point of view. What I would want to do if I were sitting down with a session like Jared is I would want to figure out where Jared was taught the formula. You see, that's what I want to know. You got a formula, Jared. I get it. I want to know when you learned it. Did you learn it in your adulthood, right? Through your own experience? Or did someone teach you the formula? And then what you started doing was living it out. You see, because it could come in 1 or 2 places. It could have come as a result of your own life, that you've had a lot of disappointment and things come to an end. And so now you've developed this formula that all good things come to an end. Or you could have been a younger child and someone could have taught you the formula and told you, hey, when you grow up, I just want to let you know that all good things come to an end. And then as a result, as you grew up, you started looking for good things coming to an end, and you started confirming what someone else taught you. Oh, that person was right. Be careful about what you were taught as a child. Sometimes we're out here in the world as adults living with mindsets, living with formulas, living with ideas that we think are our own ideas. We think they're original. We think we came up with them. We think that is all us. But the reason why you think it's all us is because sometimes you can't remember when you even first adopted the thinking, because you could never imagine that you are living as a 35-year-old according to the thoughts of something you were taught when you were 4. But we know it happens all the time. Listen, what's that book called? Everything we need to learn, we learned in kindergarten. If you ever heard that title, what it's saying is that our very earliest years, we are taught patterns that stick with us through the rest of our lives. Talk to psychologists, sociologists, and they will talk about you when is a child's mind formed? When is a child developed and formed? What are those early years that it's formed? And we think that those are just years and then we wash them away when we get older. It's not true. So sometimes we are taught good things in life early, but sometimes we are taught bad things early. And if you do not consciously go back and review the lessons that you were taught between 0 years old and say 8 years old, if you do not go back and review those lessons, you will be misled in your adult life that some of the stuff you're doing makes sense. Jared needs to go back and figure it out. You see, Brandon left Kiki too, just like Brandon knew. Brandon said the nail in the coffin was when Kiki told him that she was actually two-timing him. And it was in that moment that he knew he was going to say no. Well, if you remember, Brandon was going to say no before he even knew that. Before he even knew that, Brandon was going to say no. So Brandon can say that was the last straw. That's fine. But Brandon already knew. Brandon knew the minute he got there and Kiki wasn't letting him get close to her, he knew then that this wasn't going to work. He knew then when Kiki was pushing away him when he was trying to help her and coach her. Remember, Kiki said that Brandon is over-parenting her. But that's the way that Brandon likes to love on people, parent them. He told us that. He said, I like to parent people. That's what I did when I was younger, when my younger brothers said, I like to parent people. And when he was hoping for with Kiki is Kiki would have allowed him to parent her. And when they got together, Kiki didn't allow Brandon to parent her. And because Kiki's got this strange personality. Kiki, on the other one hand, really does want a person to do everything for her because Kiki's lazy and she doesn't take accountability, just like homegirl Brittany doesn't do. But Kiki still wants you to do things for her, but she doesn't want you to parent her, right? Kiki's the type of person where she want to live in your house but not follow no rules of your house. She want to live in your house as an adult, right? Do what she want to do, act the way she wants to act, not pay no rent, have all the privileges of a person that's an adult, but then she wants you to be paying all the bills while she living in your house. That's who Kiki is. So when Brandon was coming in trying to parent Kiki, Kiki wasn't having it. Kiki was like, absolutely not. And that was a turnoff to Brandon. That was a turnoff to Brandon because Brandon looks at parenting you as loving on you. And Kiki was rejecting the parenting because, like she said now, I got to walk on eggshells with you. I can't do what I want to do. And Brandon didn't feel loved by that. Brandon wants you to accept his parenting. And that's when he knew right away that it wasn't going to work. And then once he figured out or was told that not only was Kiki not letting him parent her, Kiki was also going out and doing things with other men and lying to him and betraying him. He said, "Oh, this is too much. This is too much." But he picked his moment, and in the very end, he said goodbye to Kiki. Bye, Kiki. He didn't give her no hug. He didn't give her no kiss. He didn't help her with her bags. Kiki was up there huffing and puffing, trying to get that suitcase out. And Kiki and Brandon said she was out. He was out. He was out. You know, Kiki, when they went on that last date and they went to go play them video games, you know, Brandon was passing the Rams stadium saying, "Oh, maybe we're going to watch the Rams." And no, they went over to Dave and Buster's. And Kiki said, "The reason why I'm taking you to Dave and Buster's is because you act like a big old kid. So I might as well take you to play some video games." Kiki girl, you the one sucking your thumb in a bed to fall asleep at night. And you said Brandon is the kid. Girl, when you talk about zero accountability with Kiki, girl, calling someone else a kid and you suck your thumb every night, if there ain't no bigger picture of a person in delusion, that would be it. You calling me a kid and you suck your thumb every single night. Girl, that was crazy. So Kiki said goodbye. Jared put Charlie in the friend zone. He not only put, listen, there's a couple of friend zones: friends with benefits, and then there's friends. Jared put Charlie in the friends category because he had already gotten the benefits. And he started to realize that even the benefits he was getting, they weren't worth it. You see, the only one who said the sex was really, really good was Charlie. Did anyone hear, did anyone hear Jared say that the sex was really, really good with Charlie? I never heard it. I never heard it. And in fact, I don't even know how many times Jared even slept with Charlie. Be honest with you. I don't know. I don't keep track. It could have been one and done. It could have been one time, and that's when he really realized, I'm definitely not staying with her because the sex is just okay. She got 4 kids. This is gonna be a no. I'm here for this free breakfast from Jay. Jay. None of these people said they're gonna miss each other. Everybody said they're gonna miss Jay's cooking though. Charlie girl, go love yourself. Go love yourself. Jared did tell Charlie, you know what, we can be friends and go on trips and meet in exotic places and have sex, but then after that, we go to our own separate houses. But he said, let's not have no expectations and let's definitely not put no labels on it. Woo, Jared is cold. When Jared said, I feel that yes, Charlie is hurting. And although he does want to comfort her, he said there is also this level of satisfaction that he feels that he said what he said. You know, Jared said basically, listen. Jared is saying, I understand that Charlie is hurting, but the satisfaction I'm giving to myself for being true to who I am and doing what I want to do, which I want to do for myself, is more satisfying. So he says, if I got to choose between comforting Charlie and giving Charlie what she wants and what I want for myself, I'm going to choose myself. And that's what he did. That's what he did. And poor Charlie is going around talking about Jared is her soulmate. And he's running around talking about he doesn't know how to handle Charlie now. As if as if Charlie's too advanced. And maybe when he gets a little older, he'll learn how to love and appreciate a Charlie. But she's running around talking about Jared was her soulmate, and she just can't see her life without him. And Jared has said, what was his saying? I would have rather never loved at all instead of loved and lost. Did you normally the saying is I would have rather loved and lost than never loved at all. You see, most people say I would have rather loved and lost than never loved at all. And I don't know if Jared mixed up the words. I don't even know if I heard it wrong, but I played it over several times. And what Jared actually said was, I would rather never loved at all than to love and lost. So this goes back to the mentality of Jared. Somewhere along the way, he was taught that all things end, love ends. And so as a result, I don't believe Jared has ever loved anyone. I don't believe he has. I don't believe he's ever loved anyone. Because I believe what he said is, I would have rather never loved than loved and lost. And I believe that's what he chooses. He chooses to never love because he knows that love is going to end in loss. It's a sad life. It's going to sad life. And let me tell you, he's a young guy. And right now, there are plenty of people, he's good looking, that he can sort of play this round robin with a bunch of women. But once you get up in my age, you start to see some of these men who have never loved, and they get older in their 50s and their 60s. And now they don't have the access to the round robin of women that they had when they was younger and good looking and in shape. They don't have access to it. And to see some of them, right? It's a sad, sad, sad story. You see, they health deteriorate because they've never really invested in a person. You see, relationships are investments, right? Investments that, yeah, in the current time, you do reap rewards from the relationship. You want to reap rewards. But when you invest in a relationship, as you get older, you also start reaping other type of rewards that maybe weren't as important when you were younger. That's the thing about partnership relationships. You don't get all of your rewards up front and in the beginning, right? Some of your rewards from being dedicated to a relationship, devoted to a relationship, obedient in a relationship, doing the hard work, some of that payback is later on in other years. You don't get everything up front. And what Jared's game he's playing is, I only stay in relationships while there's this big reward. And once the reward starts to diminish for whatever reason, whether he's falling out of like or he doesn't want to sleep with the woman, he says, let me cut it off and let me go ante back up with another woman. Let me start all over to the big reward. Because I like to live in those first year of relationship where I'm just full of reward. But what's going to happen to Jared later on in life is when everyone else is starting to reap rewards from relationships that they've been able to maintain, Jared is going to be bankrupt. It's almost like a person who didn't save for retirement. You see, you've seen it at my age. You've seen a lot of people who lived the high life, had a good time in their 20s and 30s. They weren't putting any money away. They weren't, pensions have gone away, so people weren't collecting pensions. People didn't invest in no 401k. People didn't save any money. People just spent their money as it was coming. You saw them. You've been on these people now for 30 years. They was doing all kind of things, right? Driving fancy cars, the best clothes, the best designer units, whatever you want to call it. Best weave hair, everything. And then as you get older, you start saying, now a lot of these people, maybe they have a health issue. Maybe they're by themselves. And you say, wow, look at them now. They didn't invest enough. They didn't invest in their friendships enough. Now there's no one there who wants to really help them when they're older and they need help. They didn't invest in a relationship with a person of like a love relationship. There's nobody there to help them go to the doctor or take them to the doctor. They didn't invest in their children. Their children not around, or nobody want to come around and help them. Their children done gone off. They didn't invest in no job. They hopped around from job to job, being an entrepreneur. They didn't pay into Social Security. You know, they didn't put in no 401k. And if Jared is not careful, this is going to be him in the area of relationships. You see what I'm saying? This is why then when men get older, if Jared, let's say Jared worked on his money and not invest in a relationship, when he gets older, 60, he going to have to pay women. He going to be a 60-year-old man paying younger women. That's what he's going to be. He's going to be a 60-year-old man who's going to have to be paying a younger woman a significant amount of money to be with him and care for him and take care of him, because he didn't invest in anybody else. Now the only people who are going to be willing to do the work are going to be people he's paying, and that's going to be Jared. He won't love them women either, but it won't matter because those women will be getting paid. You see, women right now won't do the work with Jared because they're going to realize Jared don't really love them. So they're going to leave. They're going to leave because they're like, I ain't getting nothing from Jared. Jared is like an ice prince. I'm not getting nothing for him. This is like getting blood from a turnip. They're not going to get nothing. They're going to leave too. He talking about he leave them. That's fine. It's a blessing that he leaving them. Then women should feel blessed. But later on, please, Jared worried about who's going to be paying 50-50 now. When he get older, he going to be paying 100%. I guarantee you he going to be paying 100%. When Charlie was telling Alexis that Jared checks all her boxes and that Charlie was saying she never had no man come check on her, kiss her forehead. And Charlie told Alexis that Jared confessed to her that he feels like he can be himself with her and that all other women, he's had to conform to what the woman wanted. And with Charlie, he feels like he can just be himself. And Alexis pointed out to him, to Charlie, the reason he feels that way, Alexis, is because he can do the bare minimum with you and you'll accept it. You see, you'll accept it. But other women won't accept it because they're like, I'm not sitting over here with you, Jared, for peanuts, pennies on the dollar. You're going to have to do something. And Charlie has such a hole in her life. Like I told you, the hole in Charlie's life for love is so large, it's so vast. It's almost like a person in the desert with no water. And I tell you, if I come along and you in the desert and you ain't got no water in your reservoir, and I come along with a little syringe of water, and I say, I got a syringe of water, you will be so desperate for just the syringe of water that I have, that if I give it to you, you will love me too. You will love me too because I put a drop of water on your tongue. And that's Charlie with Jared. Jared is walking around with a syringe of water, and thirsty women will go for what he's given. And Alexis told her right. Alexis told her correctly. She told her, you need to release him. You need to release him. What she really should have said to Charlie is, you need to release yourself. You see, that's the real release that needs to happen. The release needs to release yourself, because if you just say release him, it can give the impression that he's the problem, that Charlie's here and just release him and you will be better, Charlie. She really won't be better. She really won't be better. She can't just release Jared. She has to release herself. She's got to release herself from that thing that's inside of her that has bonded her and put her in bondage. You see, Jared really is not the problem for Charlie. Jared is a problem to himself. He's not the problem to Charlie. So Charlie's release that has to happen is not from Jared. The release is from that thing that thing on the inside that's got her in bondage to this life where she is so vulnerable and so empty that now she latches on to any man that has a syringe of water. Any man. So in the end, what was this thing? We're going our separate ways, twists and turns. Kiki laughed, said she didn't want to dance around Brandon's triggers. She didn't walk on eggshells. Kiki don't want to do anything. She don't want to have to think nothing about your emotions whatsoever. Not at all. She just wants to keep getting from you. In the end, Kiki, no different than Brittany. Kiki saved telling Brandon about her little two-timing ways to the very end because she wanted to get all she could from Brandon. All she could. All she could. So we will see when this reunion comes. We will see. We will see if any of these people are still together. Because let me tell you something. As much as I like Jay and Cinco, this episode made me think about, is Cinco going to be able to accept Jay's life with a child in the real and in the present? And I'm very interested in seeing if he can. I'm really interested in seeing if he can. But that's it, y'all. That's all I got. Please be sure to leave a comment, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.